How's it going, everybody? Texas Man here. Hope you're having a wonderful day. If you guys would please give this video a thumbs up if you guys do enjoy it. Subscribe, of course, if you guys have not already. Also, do me the biggest favor of all. Make sure you guys hit the bell notification button so you guys don't miss out on future videos. I do stream regularly on Twitch at Douglas447, so you guys can head over there, follow, so you guys don't miss out on those awesome streams. And in this video, we're going to be talking about movies that were supposed to kickstart a new franchise in the realm of something such as Star Wars, Star Trek, Harry Potter, Avatar, you know, uh, Digimon, Halo, Jurassic Park, the MCU. And these movies were the first film in a planned, set and established franchise that was going to have at least two more movies, if not, 6 to 8 more after the initial film. But these movies were so horribly either written, produced, directed. They just flat out bombed at the box office. They were destroyed by critics or they were destroyed by general audience members. These films failed to start franchises. And the whole purpose of these films was the fact that they were going to start franchises. Some of these movies I like watching on their own, and I try to block out the fact that these films were supposed to kickstart a franchise. Now, there are some movies on this list that were supposed to kickstart franchises off that are horrible, and I've seen them once, maybe twice with people that haven't seen them, just so they can say, hey, I saw this horrible movie. But these are films that, generally speaking, I try to avoid watching. I think there's only two movies on this entire list that I actually own and I actually enjoy watching just for the sake of, hey, it hits a little bit of my fandom inside, but I can acknowledge that it's a bad movie. And those two films are, of course, Prince of Persia and A Series of Unfortunate Events with Jim Carrey. So, these are going to be my movies that failed to start franchises. Obviously, there's probably a lot more, but these are my top picks. So, if there's not a film that made this list that you think belongs on here, let me know in the comment section down below. So, starting off, number one, the reboot of The Mummy from 2017. It's supposed to kickstart this, dark franchise, this dark universe where it's going to bring in, we would have Mummy, and then we would have, Count Dracula, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. We'd have, just a bunch of different characters that we used to have from the 70s and 80s of that nature. Next, John Carter from 2012, very much a Avatar, Thor, sci-fi, Disney-fied Mars adventure that just kind of felt bland and very predictable. Number three, The Last Airbender from 2010, M. Night Shyamalan's live-action debut of the Avatar franchise, trying to squeeze all of season one into a 90-minute film, and even parts of season two, and it just didn't work. And yeah, horrible. Next, Warcraft from 2016. I saw this movie. I even saw the trailer, and the only reason I saw it because my mom wanted to see it. But I'm like, the only thing I remember about the movie was green orcs, and I'm just like, okay, so this is Lord of the Rings, but with portals. Yeah, really not scraping the bottom of the barrel there, yo. Next, Green Lantern from 2011. There's been rumors that they're going to try to get Nathan Fillion to be the live-action version of a new Green Lantern film, or mesh that in with the James Gunn franchise of DC. So we'll see how that turns out, if that ever ends up happening. But Green Lantern, the original from 2011, just felt more like a Saturday morning cartoon instead of an actual movie. Next, we have Mortal Engines from 2018. This is supposed to be kind of like the next big, gigantic Lord of the Rings adventure. And it just felt very boring and very safe and similar to a lot of other things from the past. Next up, we have Battle Los Angeles. I know this movie's been covered extensively here on YouTube, but Battle Los Angeles from 2011 is just everything, macho and manly that you want to see, but it has very little substance and very little plot involved. You know, it's the military trying to protect Los Angeles from an alien invasion. And literally, that's all it is. Nothing else. Next, Madam Web. Somehow that was supposed to kickstart a franchise, and I think everyone can understand why that film failed to start a franchise. That's all I'm going to say. Next, The A-Team from 2010. I enjoy the film. It's a cool action film, but I don't think it was supposed to be something that would start a franchise. In fact, that people wanted it to start a franchise just boggles my mind. It's a good film in its own isolation, I think. Next, Speed Racer from 2008. It's a good movie, especially after what the writers and directors did with the Matrix trilogy. For the most part, Speed Racer, it's a fun film, but it definitely is targeted towards younger audiences. And, you know, once you hit like 13, 14, it kind of just seems very anime cartoony and not really meant to be live action. Next, Prince of Persia, and of course, A Series of Unfortunate Events. Both of those films I like and I enjoy in some parts, but I can also understand a lot of the criticism towards them. Personally, when it comes to Prince of Persia, I've never played the games, don't care to. I enjoy it for it being what it is. And then A Series of Unfortunate Events. The movie is okay. Unfortunately, it's only 90 minutes long. And I kind of feel like it's kind of weird that they only made one film. And they did the first 3 books. Bad Beginning, Reptile House, and House on a Cliff or something like that. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. But they crammed the first 3 books into a 90-minute film. First of all, a lot from the books are missing because of that. And there's also a lot of things that are thrown in to the film that are not in the books. And as somebody who's read them all when I was younger, when they were coming out, I just didn't like that either. There is a Netflix version of A Series of Unfortunate Events, and it goes through all 13 books. And for the most part, that was pretty good. Obviously, they take some liberties, but for the most part, the Netflix version of Series of Unfortunate Events is a pretty good adaptation of the books. Next, we have The Lone Ranger from 2013, trying to ride off the hype and success of the first 3 original Pirates of the Caribbean movies. The film, of course, starred Johnny Depp, and there was a lot of controversy of him playing Tonto. And yeah, I saw the film. Don't ever care to see it again. Last 3 we have is The Golden Compass. This film I kind of have a soft spot for because I like polar bears. But the plot is very convoluted with politics and science and dealing with free will. And the ending, unfortunately, does have a cliffhanger for more. And it's kind of sad they don't get it. My mom rewatches this movie constantly. And she's like, oh, I can't wait for them to do a sequel. And I'm like, okay, it's almost been 20 years. I doubt we're going to get one. That being said, 20 years later, we get, a sequel to, like, Tron Legacy. So anything's possible, I guess, at this point when it comes to Hollywood. Second to last, Power Rangers from 2017. I like me some good Power Rangers, but this film clearly had a lot of problems. The script is a mess, heavy CGI. The Power Ranger suits don't look like Power Ranger suits. I mean, there's been live action. I mean, Power Rangers is live action. I don't know why they had to make the suits look so CGI'd. And a lot of product placement is in the film. And villain's motivation is kind of stupid. It also, unfortunately, has a lot of woke messaging thrown into it, and it's just done to satisfy a certain demographic. But it doesn't add anything to the plot. It doesn't affect characters. It doesn't affect events or anything. And it's a very jumbled mess, and it's also very predictable. And kind of like, okay, you guys should have done this type of a film like 20 years ago when Power Rangers was actually a thing. It's still relevant. And lastly, Aragon from 2006. I like Aragon. It has a lot of problems with it, though, and I can recognize that. Same thing with like Jurassic Park 3. But Aragon, it's a cool film, but it's supposed to get a second and a third film. Thankfully, there's a bunch of books out there in the Aragon franchise and universe that you can read and kind of blank this movie out of existence if you want. So, yeah, it was trying to be another fantasy Kickstarter in the same realm of like, you know, Lord of the Rings and Narnia. So that's my list. Let me know, do you guys agree or do you guys agree or disagree with it down in the comments down below. Have an excellent day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.